Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Nona from thealliancelover.com. I have another soft gamine video for you today. We are looking at the style of the very feisty Eartha Kitt. So if you're a soft gamine or if you have some similar features that you need help accommodating, or if you're just a fan of her style, I will be discussing some of the nuances in today's video. Before we get into the outfits, again, I just want to stress so strongly that there is so much variation even within one ID. You really need to think about how to accommodate the individual, the unique proportions and ratios and character and essence that one has. So Eartha is extremely dynamic. She is a dancer. She is super physical. She has great muscle tone, and she has this sense of movement to her even when she's standing still. So this is a very big theme that needs to be accommodated for in her most successful outfits. Her best looks always showcase a sense of finessed but very perky, animated, lively, strong kinds of movement, not super soft and demure or graceful movements, but something a bit more sharp. She's still a soft gamine, so just because her movements tend to be a little bit more crisp and sharp doesn't mean that she needs to dress in a completely angular or sharp way with tons of corners and sharper edges. But again, her essence just has that spark to her. So I think she is a great definition of Spitfire chic, and she takes it to, pretty high heights. So if you're not as brave, you can always tone it down a little bit. So here we have some outfits that are good examples of this theme of defined ratios with crisp, rounded edges. So here and here, we can very clearly see her shoulder region, her neck, where her chest is, where her waist is, where the rest of her torso tapers, and where her legs are. It's very, very clear. And this is super important, especially if you're petite and you have a more athletic figure or you have more musculature to you, because this definition in the clothing will mimic and enhance the angles and the different lines of your body. And if you try to go the other way and dress in some flowy, unconstructed, uncontained ratios, you're going to lose the opportunity to show off the beauty and the vibrancy of your body. So again, here, very well-defined segments of her body. These stripes are very proportionate to her size. They're not too big, they're not too wide, and their directionality further helps emphasize her different ratios and segments. Here we have this gorgeous little kind of fold over effect on the top of this strapless jumper, which is a great trick to use if you think your strapless top or jumper is a little bit boring. If you have a little bit of extra fabric, try to kind of fold it over, and you can pin it in place or you can sew it if you're brave. It just adds a little bit of volume, a little bit of perk, a little bit of rounded pop to your outfit to draw more attention upwards and to further emphasize the shape of the actual chest area. Again, beautiful waist definition, great hip and leg definition. Now, here in this outfit, not as successful because we are getting a kind of flattening effect with this very clingy, very unified fabric. There's no texture to it, there's no volume, there's no print. So it tends to just put this damper on the contours of her body. We also have this kind of tame V-neck. It's not quite plunging enough to be more edgy or dynamic, but it's not round enough to really complement the roundness of her own body. So it's not really reflecting any of her own features. So just be careful with too flat and too unified of a look, even though it may be tight enough to seem like it defines your various regions, because there's great waist definition here. You can clearly see her hips, her thighs, her knees. You can see her chest here. The arms are a little funky because the armhole is not really lining up with her own armpit, but all in all, it is showing off her body, but it's not really enhancing the route of her body. It's kind of imposing this very, I guess, kind of conventional idea of a body onto hers. And that's never a good look, especially if you have a more athletic or dynamic frame. All right, this slide is all about those shorts, those amazing shorts. She really likes to show off her athletic legs. And if you ever feel like your shorts are just not really doing it for you and you're petite, some of these tricks might help. She folds it over in a very interesting way. You don't see this a lot of the time here. She kind of folds it over on the side at a diagonal, so it kind of lifts the eye up and it makes the leg seem a little bit longer because it's not hamping down or clamping down on the leg. It's giving you a little bit of pop, that crisp popped edge, kind of like the strapless jumper that we saw on the last slide. It's kind of the equivalent of that for a thigh. So you can try it on the side like this. Here she does it in the front, but again, there's a circular round path that she's creating. It's not flat and horizontal. There's a curved edge and it's crisp. She keeps the bottom crisp here and here, but the contrast between the inside and the outside of the fabric is creating a nice curved line and just brings so much lovely attention upwards to the leg. Another kind of metaphor for it would be like the equivalent of a well-chosen pair of ankle strap heels that brings the same kind of visual weight to the thighs as it does to the ankles with the ankle straps. Again, I said a well-chosen pair of ankle straps. So I know that many people think ankle straps are not great for petite women, but that is based on this idea that petite women need to always be lengthening their legs. And I just don't think that's the case. I think ideally you want to exaggerate the curves and the contours of your leg, especially if you're petite, with curvier or more athletic thighs that have more of a visual path to them instead of more like slim legs that can be a little bit more straight up and down. With ankle straps and with this interesting kind of curved top, you are drawing more attention to certain aspects or sections of your leg so that the kind of resolution that people perceive you in becomes a little bit higher. They're not just seeing legs, they're seeing portions of your legs. They're seeing the ankle, the smallest part, then they're seeing the curve of the calf, they're seeing the knee, they're seeing the thigh, the upper thigh. You're just seeing more of you because you're drawing attention to these more subtle or nuanced points of your body. And that is so helpful, especially if you're petite. It can really free you from trying to lengthen. Instead of doing that, try to exaggerate your contours. So beside that little upper thigh kind of detail, she has the perfect high waist fit. It really hits her narrowest point in the torso, and the top has lovely sleeves. It can really help you from feeling a little bit too condensed or constrained in a tight on tight outfit. if you're wearing really tight high-waisted shorts and a really tight, maybe sleeveless top, sometimes it can feel like you might be towering over your legs because your upper body is so strong if you're like Eartha. But if you wear something with sleeves, that tends to kind of balance it out, so people are seeing the softened shape instead of something so exaggerated. Another way to put this is instead of wearing very strong shorts and then showing off your shoulders, which might be more strong, more trapezoidal, you can give more of that yin dosage by kind of softening the upper body, because again, you have to accommodate your yin undercurrent. So if you were to wear tight on tight and have everything be sharp and angular and super fitted, you're not really giving yourself much room for that flow or for that gentleness or for that softness. So this is just another thing to think about when you're wearing very strong pieces. Sometimes you might need to soften the other areas of your body up. All right, so Eartha looks great in high-waisted jeans. I see a lot of photos of her wearing them, and something that I noticed in a lot of these photos is that she has this really cute little ankle slit on a lot of her pants. I don't know if she put them in herself. She worked as a seamstress before she became a big star, so she definitely knows her way around clothing. She probably tailored many of her outfits to her body. That's why she looks so amazing, especially back in the days when petite women weren't really uh, so catered to in the fashion world. It seemed like she really made a custom fit more possible because she did have that skill set. So anyways, when you put this little ankle slit on the hem of a great pair of ankle pants, what it does, it just creates more of that interest, kind of like the ankle strap heels. Again, this is all about taking the eye and directing it to various parts of the body so that it kind of learns how to take in different aspects of your body in smaller chunks instead of just kind of viewing you in one kind of unified mass. Super important for the soft gamine because the soft gamine thrives on segmentation, on that staccato rhythm. So if you can coax the viewer's eye to take your image in little bites, little doses, that really helps the staccato rhythm. All right, moving on from the pants that really show off her very shapely legs, we are seeing the same kind of pattern in the shape of these tops. I wrote there more trapezoidal for balance. So because we're having her legs outlined in this beautiful, clean, kind of soft way, because she does have a softer leg line, the tops need to have that crispness to the shoulders, kind of like a trapezoid, and either a clean fitted sleeve like this and here, or a more exaggerated sleeve like this, so that the legs don't steal all of the gravity and bring her downwards. So again, visual weight and distributing it throughout the body is super important. Everyone has, different proportions, so you have to figure out where your kind of center of gravity is visually, and that can shift with the different outfits, dresses or separates, different ratios, but it's always a concept to kind of look out for. If an outfit seems like it's not really working, sometimes all you need to do is lift up one part and lower the other, and you'll be dressing to your ratios more a lot of the time. That does fall into the thirds. So I don't know if you've ever heard of dressing in thirds, but it can be super flattering because the eye really loves this proportion. And onto shoes. She looks great with these kind of barefoot shoes with a gentle toe because they give this softness and balance to the entire outfit. If you were to trade out these rounded flats for a pointed heel, that the effect would not be so cute and delicate and funky at the same time. It would look a little bit too calculated, maybe a little bit too polished. So sometimes you don't want to look super calculated or super polished for your outfit. You know, there's different occasions. For something like this, I think, especially for soft gamines, the rounded toe is just the better choice. All right, here is another kind of love letter to the crisp but rounded edges, especially if there's a little bit of volume involved here. She's playing Catwoman, this gorgeous neckline. It's round, it's clean, but it has a little bit of that lift, that volume, that puff that just brings your eye up, frames her face, gives that effervescent, buoyant, dynamic feeling. And the bottom two necklines are just not as magical on her. This one's very angular, and the straps are just very flat against her. It's more of a kind of conventionally sexy neckline, and I just don't think it has enough fun character to really play off her spicy and sassy kind of aura. And here we have this bolero cardigan or shrug with this strapless, I'm assuming, dress, and it's creating this interesting triangle here, and that triangle right next to her more round face, right next to her more wide but rounded shoulders. It's just not the most flattering. It's not really mirroring or enhancing or extending any shape of her face, of her upper body. So that's why it's really not gelling as well as this gorgeous neckline. All right, so here we have a selection of really cute sweaters. Prints are great for the soft gamine. I'm sure you know that, but they can just really, again, break up the item, give it some more life, make the eye adapt the kind of size of the bite that it's taking the garment in. It's just creating different sections, and it's just more dynamic, breaks up too much continuity, creates that fun rhythm that just looks so good on the soft gamine. And for our last slide, here is Eartha looking sassy and chic no matter what her age is, even in more fancy, like nighttime wear, evening wear. She's still following these very successful elements of having the defined ratios and having something with a bit of texture to it to give her a bit of that lift, that buoyancy. Here it's in the velvet that just catches the light in such a dynamic way, and we have these fun buttons. Here we have these shiny beads that create so much direction. Here we have these soft pleats on her interesting sleeves. They're very non-conventional sleeves that create that visual momentum, that movement. Again, the ankle heels on the soft gamine. Love the slit. Just so many different elements. And here, well, she's just kind of just being herself and looking iconic. Don't see too much of her outfit because she is leaning forward a bit, so you just kind of see her chest and her face. But I think this is such a lovely picture that really showcases her character, her aura, her energy, and it really fits the sparkles on her dress. One last thing to note is hair. Hair is so important. She really kept her hair voluminous and shorter all throughout her life, and that just gave her this weightless quality where, you know, she's just really free to move. It's a little bit less, you know, conventional, less weighty, so she doesn't need to, you know, create these updos or pull it back. It's kind of like a mane in that way because it can just rise up and move in total freedom instead of having to be pinned back or tied back a lot of the time. And it just adds so much lift and volume, and it's so proportional to her head. If you were to create a very lifted and high volume look with longer hair on someone with her proportions, her head would look very, very large, maybe a little too large for her body because she already has a larger head. So if you have too much volume and a lot of hair, that can also take away the sense of buoyancy and lightness and movement. So, you know, be honest with your proportions. And if you are like Eartha Kitt, I'm super excited for your style because that is just so much Spitfire energy to accommodate. All right, I will see you in the next video. Take care. I think we'll be moving on to flamboyant Gamines next. All right, bye.